Hello everyone, my name is Graham and I'm the land steward at Goose Pond Sanctuary. But today I am at the UW Farms Remnant Prairie. So this is owned by the UW-Madison, but Goose Pond Sanctuary staff manages it. It's a fairly small remnant, only about a few acres, but it has really high quality plants in it. And just to be clear, a remnant prairie means that it has never been plowed or herbicided or grazed, or at least it's only been grazed lightly, but the majority of the original plant community remains intact. So today I just wanted to show you a couple of the spring plants that are coming up. In 2019, this place was not looking terribly good. It had quite a lot of shrub encroachment. Had some invasives in here as well, wild parsnip, and there's a clone of aspen spreading around, which is not good. So we, during the winter, cut down a lot of these shrubs, and it was actually burned last fall as well. So this is a great time to see what might be coming up in the prairie in general, but especially for my interest in the shrubs, to see what's coming up underneath them. So in front of me here, you can see all these sticks. Chopped off right here. So there's a whole load of them in front of me, and that's gray dogwood. It's a good plant. It's really good for nesting birds, but it does not belong here. It spreads aggressively. So last summer, in June or so, I mowed some of this, and then it re-sprouted, and I came back and cut some of it again. So it is real aggressive, but after a few treatments, it will not disappear, but it will reduce a lot and reveal some of the stuff that's going on underneath. So for reference, this dogwood here was about 5 or 6 feet tall, and you really could not see the ground at all. And so now after a burn, you can see all kinds of plants. So here's one right here, heart-leaved golden Alexander. It's not a rare plant, but it is very uncommon to see in restoration. Seed availability is pretty low. It's an expensive seed. Of course, we've got a lot of this yarrow. It's a real feathery leaf. It's a little bit of a weedy species, but definitely a native. Ooh, here's one. This one is Heuchera, and what's the common name? Alum root. Alum root. Here's a little baby yellow coneflower, it looks like. Really common species in mesic prairies especially. Right behind it here is a little baby thimbleweed coming up. If you're wondering why this remnant is here or why it doesn't look like that egg out there, it's because of these big old boulders. This is part of a rock outcropping, so it's basically impossible to till. So the main threat after that point then would be grazing. But this place was lucky enough to avoid both of those things, and so it still holds a really awesome plant community. So one thing about taking these shrubs out, you get those good natives coming back underneath, but you might also have a profusion of plants you do not want also. Wild parsnip, I expect to see a pretty large influx of this stuff in 2 years, right? Because we burned it in the fall. Last fall of 2020, and since these are biennials, they will germinate this year, and then their mature flowering form will come out in 2022, so I'll have to keep an eye on that. Wild parsnip, don't touch it. It might give you blisters. One thing that really seems to do good out here with shrub removal is shooting stars. Shooting stars seem to come out like crazy after that. And they are also found quite commonly in savannas so perhaps their shade tolerance is a little bit higher. A lot of them in here, just little fellas. Just gonna find you a couple more. Maybe we'll find something that is in bloom. It's rocky. Oh yeah, it's rocky places are a good place to look for freshly blooming stuff. It's one of the earliest bloomers, pasque flower. Yeah, looks like I'm behind a little bit even for these flowers. Pasque flower is real common on dry stuff. It particularly likes gravels and rocks, so it really likes dry stuff. Ooh. I forget what this is. If anybody can remember, please feel free to post in the comments, as well as if you have any questions, throw those in the comment box and I'll try to get back to you on that. I've seen this one before, it's not coming to me right now. So now I'm looking at the main part of the outcrop where it's real steep, full of rocks. Ooh, here's a good one too. Prairie smokes also bloom very early, but these flowers will expand a lot and become really puffy. So they'll be more noticeable later in the year, but obviously they're making good headway here. Ooh, here's a pasque that's a little more prime. And you can see it really doesn't have anything for leaves right now. But it will as the spring progresses. The flower is first and then the plant actually emerges after. This prairie has a lot of other high quality plants and really good densities. The show of rough blazing star here is amazing. The prairie phlox are good here. There's also downy gentian, wood lily, so the diversity and quality of this site is really good. And for reference also, everything in front of you was covered in shrubs. If you look at the old air photos, it's not looking good here, but it looks pretty dang good now. So that's all I've got for you today about this remnant prairie at UW Farms. Again, if you've got any questions about that, back to you. Just a couple updates about Goose Pond itself. The webcam is operating really well right now. So if you want to check that out, go to the Madison Audubon website, hit the Lands tab, click on Goose Pond Sanctuary, and then there will be a button for the webcam. There's a load of ducks and geese around still. It's a really nice day today. They're flying all over the place, making a real good ruckus. One other note before I go about this place, and I will throw this link in the comments. Check out Technical Bulletin number, I believe it's 188 from the DNR, and it gives you really good information on where plants were historically found. And by where, I mean what type of prairie. So is it a sand prairie that they like, or do they like wet and mesic? So that's an excellent resource. Even though this place is small, like I said before, 2 years ago I found a turkey nest here. Last year I found a northern harrier nest here, which they say is supposed to require hundreds of acres of grassland. The agriculture surrounding seems to act as somewhat of a surrogate, but I have definitely never seen a nest on such a tiny property. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Have a good day. Keep an eye out for those plants.